Hello and welcome back to my channel. So today's tutorial is on this look right here. It's just an eye look, so I did film the skin, but I'm going to post that as a mini tutorial on my Instagram. So if you want to have a look how I did the skin, then go over to my Instagram and have a little nose. It'll probably be up by the time this video is up. Today's tutorial is this eye look using the ABH Soft Glam palette. So this one right here, I showed you this in my New York vlog, but I've been using it constantly off camera, but I haven't used it at all on camera, I don't think. So I just wanted to sit down and do a little tutorial using this. I know usually in these kind of tutorials I wait till the end to tell you about it, but I'm going to tell you now. It's not first impressions, it's something that I've been using every day when I'm doing my makeup, and I really think that it's such a good palette to have for beginner or an advanced makeup artist, or someone that's not a makeup artist and likes makeup. It's a palette that I would bring with me travelling. There's so many different looks that you can create, and it is that soft glam, but you can really like have it more intense if you want, or you can have it as soft as you want. So I love this palette. I will say some of the shades are so softly pressed that you literally only dip in your brush, like get your brush and just dip once, and that's it. If you start going to swirl your brush in it, there's going to be fallout everywhere, and that goes with most eyeshadow palettes. I always know the quality of an eyeshadow when I dip into it. If it does kind of have a little bit of fallout, you know that it's very pigmented because of the way it's pressed. It's not pressed too tightly. So that's just something to think about if you're ever getting an eyeshadow palette and there is a little bit of fallout. It's not necessarily a bad thing. Sometimes it's a really good thing because you only need the tiny amount and it's really pigmented. But yeah, if you do have a palette like this, or any kind of palette that you do find there's a bit of kickback, just dip your brush in really gently. I do find that sometimes in my one-to-one lessons, like, people really swirl their brush in. You only need to dip, be gentle with it. I absolutely adore this palette, so if you want to see one of my favourite looks to create with this palette, then keep on watching and I'll show you how. So I'm using the Anastasia Beverly Hills Brow Wiz in the shade medium brown for my brows today. I usually don't really show you how I do my brows. I usually skip through it because I find it's a little bit boring to watch. But I've been getting asked by a lot of people on Instagram to show you how I do my brows. So my brows are really sparse, so I do have to fill them in. I don't have them tinted at the minute, so usually when they're tinted they don't look as gappy because the tint kind of disguises where I don't have the hair. So I'm just filling them in really where I need the extra kind of product to fill in those bald spots. I go in with like a harsh line, and I'm constantly using my spoolie to brush the product through the brows, and voila, that is the finished brow. You can see the difference from one brow to the other, and I really like the Anastasia Beverly Hills Brow Wiz. It's a lovely really easy product to use. Now I'm taking the P. Louise eyeshadow base in the shade Roomwear. This is number 2 if you're looking on their website. But I'll link it in the description bar down below as well if you're looking. But I'm using this to clean up my brows and just to give the brows a little bit more of a lift. And as well as that, we're bringing it all the way down onto the lid. And this is going to act as our eyeshadow base. I find this is the best eyeshadow base there is. It makes your eyeshadow so pigmented and really long lasting. I don't set this with powder. I use my eyeshadows to set it. So we're going to dip into the Soft Glam palette now, and the first shade that I'm going to go in with is this beautiful shade called Sienna. So I'm taking that Sienna shade into the crease on the outer corner because I kind of want this look to be more blown out on the outer corners. And I'm using a Zoeva 227 brush. This is my favourite brush there is. If I could recommend one brush that you need to have to do an eyeshadow, it's this one, because it's very like universal. You can kind of do a lot of eyeshadow looks with it. You could nearly do your whole eye just using this brush. Now we're going to go in with this beautiful peachy tone shade called Orange Soda. So I'm taking that Orange Soda shade on a Zoeva 228 brush. This brush is just a little bit longer haired and fluffier and a little bit bigger. So I always say the lighter the shade, the bigger the brush, and then the darker the shade, the smaller the brush, because you have more control over a dark product when you're using a smaller brush. So I'm blending that sienna shade out, but sometimes you'll lose the sienna, so I'm going back in with the sienna. So when you blend out your kind of medium tone shade, I always find you'll lose it, so you always kind of want to go back in and just deepen it back up if you feel that you need to. And then again, going back in with some of that orange soda. I think that's the key to blending, is not being afraid to go back in and out with colours until you're happy with the finished product. Now going in with this dark rich brown called Cypress Umber. Taking that shade on a Zoeva detail shader brush. I'm using this little tiny brush to pack on the colour and make it really intense, and then I'm bringing it right along the lash line and smoking out that lash line. Now I'm using a Zoeva 224 brush and I'm blending it up into the crease and keeping it nice and intense but really nice and smoky on the outer corner. So just using circular motions to blend upwards. And then I'm going to go in with some of the sienna shade again, and I'm going to blend that dark shade out. And then going in with the Laura Geller Gilded Honey Easy Illuminator. This is like a cream stick highlight, which I use for my skin, but here I'm using it as an eyeshadow base for the next shadow that we're going to apply. So I'm popping this everywhere that I want that gold shimmer shade to go. So I'm patting it onto the lid and then using the clean side of the brush to blend it into the eyeshadow. And this is just going to help that shimmer shadow stick better, last longer, and blend really easy. So going in with the shade Fairy from the palette, that's the gold shimmer shade. And I'm going to pat that all over the cream that we just applied, and it's just going to help us stick better really. And I find because I have hooded eyes, this kind of helps us stop creasing because you've something already sticky to hold it into place, if that makes sense. It's just patting it all over and making sure you're happy with the shape. So I'm going in with that shade Cypress Umber and I'm reapplying it to the lash line just to make sure it's nice and smoky, because we definitely lost that shade when we put the gold on. And I'm going to apply this in the outer corner again and just blend it in so it blends really nicely together. The reason why we put it there in the first place is to give ourselves a guide not to apply the gold there, and then it's easy for us to go back in with the gold. So I'm just after applying some roller lash mascara to prep my eyes, or my lashes you could say, for some false lashes. So I'm going to go in with some Sosu by SJ New York lashes, and these are the ones from Pennies or Primark if you're not from Ireland. And I'm just going to apply them so they make a big difference. So I'm applying some of the NYX Slide On, Glide On, Stay On, and definitely a Turn On Waterproof Extreme Shine eyeliner, and this is in the shade Golden Bronze. The name is actually longer than it takes to even apply it. And then I'm going in with some Glance Zoeva Graphic Eyes pencil just underneath the waterline. So I put the NYX one in the waterline and the Zoeva one goes underneath the lashes to help smoke it out. And then I'm going in with all the same shades that we used on top. I'm using them on the bottom. And then just to show you one of my absolute favourite highlights of all time, I included it in the video. I did do a voiceover on this video. I don't know if you like that. Let me know in the comments below if you like when I do voiceovers, or do you rather me just talk. My house is a bit noisy, so that's why I did the voiceover, but let me know what you'd rather. So I'm using the Amrezy Anastasia Beverly Hills highlight, and oh my god, like look at that. It's just so beautiful. I use this on all my clients from young to mature clients, and it sits on everybody's skin so naturally, and even when I don't have makeup on, I love it. So that is the finished look. Thank you so much for watching, and please like and subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, and yeah, I'll see you in my next one. Bye!